everyone, and welcome to Contact Lost, the Polish podcast about Polish Warhammer competitive scene. And today with me, I have two amazing guests. The first one, our staple, my best friend Joker.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in again.
And another guest who is joining us because he has just won a certain tournament. Please welcome Arek Król.
Hello guys, thank you for having me.
Hi,
and
Arek.
Hello everyone out there.
But before we delve into the topic of our episode, I would like to make a few announcements. First of all, Joker and we got featured in an episode of another podcast hosted by our friend John Damaris. Yes, you heard that right. The John Damaris who hosts The Art of War with Nick Nanavati had us on his show to talk about the Polish meta, the Polish team championships, and the process behind selecting the Polish national team. If you want to check it out, please follow the link in the description. It's really worth it. Secondly, the Polish team championship did not really take place this year due to COVID, but there is still hope. Kerszur, who is the organizer of all the tournaments in Kozłów, he announced that he can host a team tournament that should satisfy the appetites of all the people who are hoping for a good team bash this year. It will be a 2-day event. It will take place on between 17th and 18th of October. So yeah, no matter if you live in Poland or abroad, if you have a team and you want to participate in a great event, and you want to be sure that all the safety precautions are in place, and Kerszur is known for that, please head on to wh40k.pl, find the tournament section, and simply sign up. If you need any help with that, if finding that is difficult because Polish, do leave a comment under the video and I will personally guide you through it. Last but not least, the signups for the events, the overnight event, the 2K singles tournament in Dragon Store in Gdynia, as well as the 2000 points singles event on the 27th of September, also in Dragon, are still open. I saw that for the latter, it will feature Vladi. So if you want to face off against a member of the Polish national team who could kill a whale with a toothpick, make sure you head on to Dragon Store PL on Facebook and that you sign up for that. So basically, we invited Arek because he has recently won a 2000 point singles tournament in Kozłów with his Death Guard list, and we figured he could tell us something more about his army, the games he played, and the missions that he chose. So, Arek, you have been present on the Polish competitive scene for a fairly short while, and even though it's been quite intensive, can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, sure. I play competitive Warhammer since 2017, I think. Yeah, my first tournament was the duże męskie granie, so
Big man league.
big man tournaments. It was in 2017, and that was about a half a year after I restarted to hobbying with Warhammer. I have played a little bit at my younger age, in about 4th and 5th edition, but that was really
ago.
long time ago. Yeah, and almost everything changed since then. A friend of mine showed me the 7th edition at its worst at the end of the edition, and I wasn't very happy at the state of the game back then. But the 8th edition changed almost everything. And I started to just enjoying the game again. And I'm old enough to spend a large amount of times with it.
Right.
So with my attitude of go hard or go home, I just started to play at every available tournament in Poland, and then outside of Poland. So yeah, that's my competitive story at the Polish scene.
Awesome. So the first time I heard about you was pretty much last year around the ETC because suddenly out of nowhere there is a guy called Arek who's playing in singles, and then also you've played in team tournaments, I guess. Can you briefly tell us about that? How it went?
Yeah, I was aspiring to join the Polish national team, but unfortunately it doesn't happen last year. But Typhus, by Typhus, I was connected with the Alex Harrison, who was the United Nations second captain, and I just applied to play in the United Nations team.
Wow.
I was accepted. That's all. It's just a blind luck, I think.
Okay, so you've played
So
with
there,
sorry. Yeah, go on, Joe.
So was there any selection process to get into that mercenary team?
To be honest, I don't know, because I was the one that was being selected, not the not the captain. I just received the info. Okay, Arek, if you want, tell us if you can play with us, and that was all.
Okay. And did you have and could you play the army that you wanted, or was it somehow imposed on you?
After we have formed the United Nations second team about 3 or 4 days before the roster.
Okay.
So it wasn't very long time to get around with many armies that 8 of us have played. And I have talked to our captain Alex, and we just decided that 2 of us will take whatever it's left, because we have some experience with many armies, and we can just adjust to the whole team. And I was imposed to play Tau, which I haven't played since 7th. So yeah, it was pretty much imposed on me.
Okay. So this sounds like fantastic material for another episode. Like I think we could make a completely separate episode for you to just talk about that experience, about the singles and then the tournament.
Sure.
Sorry, the team tournament. Okay, so I'm making a mental note right now to get back to you on that. But so you've played Tau. Then the next time we met, it was during the Three City Heresy last September. So you came, and I think you played either Tau or Space Marines. I can't remember exactly.
I played Tau.
Right. And then the tournament that you attended last weekend, you took something completely different, which was Death Guard.
Death Guard.
What happened there?
Death Guard was my army of choice since the start of the 8th.
Okay.
But they weren't very competitive throughout the whole 8th edition. I was trying. Remember last year on the Polish team tournament?
Uh-huh.
Some guys from Wrocław. I wasn't there because my friend of mine invited me to his wedding. So I
Tough decisions.
It was already paid, team tournament, not the wedding, so even tough. But some guys from Wrocław, where I live, took the Death Guard roster, which was my and Michał Duda's idea, with Blightlord Terminators and Plague Marines only.
Okay. So was it tailored for a team tournament, or was it like a list that could be played on singles as well?
No, it was tailored for the team tournament because Death Guard is all about not dying on the table, right?
Yeah.
So if your opponent doesn't have reliable amount of firepower with strength 5 and more, you just can't kill Death Guard. and you can easily hide in cover. There was the time when the meta was something like Imperial Guard with 3 mortars, and math says that 3 mortars squad kills about 1.5 Plague Marine in cover. So
yeah, it is one of the most resilient armies out there.
Yeah. So it wasn't. It was tailored to play such pairings.
Mm-hmm.
Plus everything Imperium, because of the Death to the False Emperor, and with Prescience, Blightlord Terminators with flails really can put some.
Yeah.
On,
okay.
Players.
Okay.
But for another year, there wasn't anything special in Death Guard. The army was particularly dead for most likely a year and a half until the Word of the Spider at the end of the 8th edition, and Death Guard got lots of delightful buffs and stratagems there. And why did I choose Death Guard 2? Because I always like to play armies that were a little bit hard to remove from the board.
Mm-hmm.
I played now with 3 Riptides and 50 drones, which were a pain for a while. Previously, I played Nurgle demons with 150 plague bearers and spams like that. I like one of our top players said, Skark. It's not about your opponent to die on the table. He needs to die inside.
Yeah, so, the typical Polish tactics.
So die inside, kill my 50 drones. Die inside, killing my 150 plague bearers. And now try to kill my demon engines.
Right. So tell us something about your list. Tell us about the army composition. What was the reasoning behind it? How did you plan your list?
Okay. So it was a single detachment, spearhead of Death Guard with Demon Prince with the sword and wings. He wasn't a warlord. He has additional warlord trait for 4-up disgustingly resilient and separating plate for a 2-up save and mortal wounds in combat. Then I have 2 elites, 5 Blightlord Terminators with 4 Combi Bolters and a flail, and Noxious Blightbringer. He was my warlord with Ironclad Furnace Relic to give all of my demon engines 4+ invulnerable save and Arc Contaminator trait. For fast attack, I have 6 Mephitic Blight Haulers in 2 units, and then Spearhead, and then heavy support of 3 Defilers with autocannons and Scourges, and 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, 1 with Entropy Cannons and 2 with Flamers. And that's all.
That sounds heavy. That sounds like pretty much an immovable army.
Yeah, almost. The plan was just did not get killed.
Mm-hmm.
And with
tell us what. Mm-hmm. What was the strategy behind it? I mean, are there any special rules that all those vehicles benefit from? Why such a composition?
Yeah. Okay. So main thing is to blob around the Noxious Blightbringer with the who gives 4-up invulnerable save to all demon engines. So every demon engine have toughness 7 or 8 if it's a Plagueburst Crawler, and 4-up invulnerable and 5-up Feel No Pain, which equals to 3-up invulnerable. So they are really tough to remove. And Blight Haulers can hurt in combat because of the 4 attacks with strength 6, and I can cast +1 to wound from my Divine Prince on them, and they make mortals on 6s. And they're fast enough to take enemy objectives from the enemy. And the defilers are really deadly in combat. With strength 16, with 5 attacks with strength 16, minus 3 d6 damage, and 3 additional from the scourge is strength 12, minus 2 flat 3. So they are really good in removing the troops from objectives. And if they get to some kind of harder things like repulsors or Admech vehicles without the invulnerable save or invulnerable save high enough, yeah, they can really one-shot a vehicle. And the game plan was just to survive for long enough to score primaries and pick secondaries like while we stand we fight, because of my 2 Plague Burst Crawlers, and Demon Priest were the
most expensive units.
Most expensive units. Thank you. Maybe sometimes a Psychic Ritual, because if I can park my vehicles in the middle of the table, and the Demon Priest is pretty much unmovable from there, so I can cast 3 times.
Arek, can you repeat that last sentence, because I think we were either I was losing you or you were losing us.
Okay, so the second secondary was the Psychic Ritual, because I can park all of my demon engines in the middle of the table, even without any loss blocking terrain or cover, for 3 turns, and the Demon Prince is pretty much unmovable from there, so I can easily do the 15 points.
Would you say that this is the general tactic that the Death Guard has? Basically, park in the middle and just keep it.
You know, the thing is that I don't have enough fast-moving units to go around the table edges, and I need to keep in 7 inches aura to get my 4-up invulnerable.
Right.
So if I will be playing some kind of very fast-moving opponent like Harlequins, they can easily spread me out and kill my demon engines one by one, because 4 up to 5 up is really big loss for me. So that's why I need to park my demon engines in the middle of the table, and if my opponent picks the bait and play my game, it's pretty much a loss for him.
Okay. And what was the third secondary?
The third one was dependent on my opponent. Sometimes when I play grenades, I pick Assassinate. Other times I pick the Destroy Vehicles one. I don't remember the name. But yeah, mostly it was, or sometimes the attrition, or grind them down, so kill more. Okay. If there was a lot of some kind of weak units, like scouts or other things that I can kill with my mortars, pretty reliable.
Okay. And didn't you have any problems scoring primary points without any troops choices?
Not really, because first of all, with 4 out of 5 games, I start my Blight Lord Terminators on the table. So they move across the table and just kill anything that is on their way. With my demon engines parked on the objectives or charging the units that are on objectives, I can pretty much kill any troop choice that is out there with 1 or 2 defilers. And with 3 Plague Burst Mortars, I can finish those troops that are sitting on the backfield objective of my opponent, so I can guarantee him not scoring enough, or spending the CPs for things like transhuman psychology on 5 intercessors just to keep the 5 primaries. So I wasn't scoring primaries like crazy, right? but reliable 10 points each turn for 3 turns and 15 in fourth just was giving me maximum at the end of the game.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan. So tell us about your games. Who did you play? Were there tough matchups, or was it a walk in the park?
Okay, so starting for the first game, I was playing with Grom. It is a local player from Kozłów community. He have Imperial Fists with Leviathan Dreadnought, Repulsor, some Blade Guard veterans, and Outriders. I don't remember. Yeah, that pretty much that's the most of his list. And yeah, Imperial Fist hurts on the table when you cannot hide your vehicles for the first turn, because I lost like 2 defilers, just from one from the Leviathan and second from the Repulsor.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, that will be hard. But without their hyper doctrine, they are pretty much not so scary on turn 2 and onwards. I just moved just flanked my Mythic Blight Haulers of the left flank and tried to engage his Dreadnought in melee combat. And last Defiler and Playbus Crawlers came for the Repulsor and killed him in turn 4, I think. And by the time my mortars just decimated his troops for 3 turns, and he doesn't have anything to score on the table, because I think, that wasn't the top-notch list because of the cost of Riot and Dreadnought. I think right now he's pretty much
365 points. I'm looking at the list right now.
So he's almost a quarter of your list, and 20 shots with strength 7 isn't worth for 24 inches, right? Isn't worth almost 400 points. But yeah, that guy can put some hurt on your vehicles and turn 1.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I scored like 20 points there.
Mm-hmm.
So
the maximum possible.
Yeah, the maximum possible. 20-0, so it was like 80 to 35. New GDAP scoring system. Yeah, I thought that it will be harder it will be harder matchup for me, but it turned out pretty good. But I think with more experienced player, it could be a little bit difficult. And the Space Marine of all tastes and flavors are hard to play in general right now.
Yeah. So with you saying that, I wanted to ask, because I mean, when you were going to that tournament, were there any lists or armies that you were particularly afraid of, like something that your army would not want to play?
Yeah, basically Salamanders,
right?
And Space Marines of all tastes with a decent amount of anti-tank. So like 3 squads of Eradicators, 3 squads of Graph Devastators.
Right. And then Salamanders in particular, because they also ignore AP1. I don't know if AP2 as well, but AP1 definitely. And I think Death Guard doesn't really boast high AP weapons.
Everything in my list has except the autocannons on Defilers have like AP2 minimum, so that wasn't the problem.
Okay.
But five aggressors with flamers, double tapping with +1 to wound, and maximizing the flamer output is 144 flamer shots.
Yeah.
So even with 2-up invulnerable, you will just fail enough saves to
die.
Yeah, exactly. So that was one army I was afraid of, and second one, Admech. I think the Admech is the new Iron Hands. It's another shooty army from hell, and
And you had the luck of playing that army,
Yeah.
but I think it was your third game, so we will get there in a moment. No, I think the second game was against Grey Knights.
Grey
Is that
Knights,
correct?
yeah. Against Grey Knights, my opponent has 3 Grandmasters in Nemesis Dread Knights, Drago Voldus, 3 squads of Terminators, and a few squads of the basic troops. I don't remember the names.
Yeah, the strike squads, and I think an apothecary as well with the hammer.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, an apothecary definitely. And I pick Assassinate for this game because he has like 6 characters. And my opponent's mistake, it will be a tough matchup for me, but my opponent's mistake was to go hard on me and push me. So on turn 2, I have almost all of his characters in range of all my demon engines. I was already in combat. He came close to my Terminators, he came close to my Defilers, and of course he killed like 1 or 2 in 3 turns. But then, after two or 3 turns, I was able to kill two Nemesis Dread Knights and Drago and Voldus, and everything else was just a cleanup of the table after turn 3.
Yeah, sounds like a complete slaughter.
But I think that the Grey Knights are one of the armies that can really hurt me, because all of them demon engines are demons, of course. So if you switch the tide to smite tide, that's flat 4 damage.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. Like, it sounds on paper, it sounds like he should demolish you.
Yeah, and I was expecting that, but a little mistake that I take advantage of, and after losing Drago and 2 Terminator squads and 2 Grandmasters in 1 turn, or in 2 turns, my opponent just couldn't recover.
Okay.
And doesn't have enough firepower to finish my demon engines.
Out of sheer curiosity, because we didn't mention that about the first game and about this game as well, did you go first in both games?
In my first game, no, I was second. I lost the roll, and in my second game, I went first. Yeah.
Okay. So does going first matter for you? Does it change much if you go first or if you go second?
Not in all matchups, but in the tougher ones, like with Admech, I think I prefer to go first. But I'm always prepared to go second. So basically on the table I am wholly within 7 inches of my 4+ invulnerable aura. So if my opponent have some kind of long range firepower and I don't have a table and I can hide like 3/4 of my army, then it could be a problem. But otherwise, 24 inches for the Devastators is short enough that if my opponent just drop them out of the drop pod turn 1, in turn 3, I can just charge the drop pod and buff my and just slingshot my demon engines out of the drop pod, from the drop pod, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I intended to ask that at the end of, let's say, the interview, but it seems like a perfect time to do it now. Is there any specific method or way that you deploy? So you said that you deploy close to the buffing character, But is there anything else that you do, or have you perhaps considered maybe putting something in outflank, like maybe the defilers or something?
I
So
at least have only one command point, so outflank is
right.
I start with 1 CP because contaminated monstrosity on defilers costs 2 CP, and I don't have any refund for the spearhead detachment, so it's -9 at the start.
Wow.
And additional trait and relic on Demon Prince is 2 CP, so I start with 1.
And about the Demon Prince, you said that you take him with the suppurating plate, and you also said that you give him a sword. Why a sword?
Sword. Okay, there is a stratagem in. Okay, he's 5 points cheaper with a sword.
All right, that's important.
And there is a stratagem in Death Guard War of the Spider that gives additional 5 attacks, additional 3 attacks for a command point if you target infantry unit. So with flat 3 damage and a lot of free wounds models in Gravis armors, I prefer to have a sword to just reliably kill aggressors, eradicators, and other kind of marines.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. All right, so
and
that was
deployment. So maybe I can answer to that.
Yeah, go on.
The deployment was dependent on my secondaries. If I took while we stand we fight, basically my crawlers will be at the edge of my deployment in the back. Sometimes I put blight haulers on the flank just to move them up in one side of the board to gain some attention from my enemy and take the middle with defilers and crawlers. Other times it was just a counter deploying my opponent. So if he put like repulsor on one side, I was just hiding from the repulsor behind some kind of terrain. So yeah, this army is, in my opinion, quite easy to deploy because you don't really have a lot of options. You just need to keep one 7 inches aura, and that's it.
Sounds well thought through. So let's get into your third game, and this is the game that probably was the most dreaded one.
Yeah. That was the game with Skark, and even if he was playing army full of models from the Blackstone Fortress, it would be a dreaded one. But with Admech, it was really painful. You know, three planes with last cannons, 3 dune crawlers with Icarus, and 3 Hoover tanks with no loss shooting. Yeah, that's a lot of hurt that he can put on my demon engines. And to be honest, I will probably lost this game. But we decided with Skark that we'll have a beer and split it 10-10, and then we just played 4 turns out of, and he was like tabling me on the 5th turn.
Okay, so
that game, yeah, I think that Admech right now have that kind of firepower that he can shoot through all of my demon engines, and with Mars Canticle with +1 to strength, even his stabbers are wounding the crawlers on 5s, which is 100% better than on 6s. So amount of dice that I need to roll is so large that you will lose like 1 or 2 vehicles per turn.
So that's impressive because there's a lot of wounds to chew through in that Death Guard list. So it's really scary to hear what they can do.
Seriously, that's why I said before that in my opinion, Admech is the new Iron Hands. It's just disgusting to play against. Really.
And there's like really a lot of them. By the way, to all our listeners, I should have mentioned that earlier, but all the lists from that tournament will be included in the comments to this video, so you'll have a chance to see them as well. But I see that he had really a lot because he had all the characters, 2 per detachment, I think, destroyers, 2 units of raiders, 3 planes, as you said. I see raiders again. The Sky Stalkers, or the unit with wings,
Batman.
3 Scorpiuses, 3 Onagers. So that's a hell of a lot of units on the table.
Yeah, and the one particular warlord trait, the divination of the Magos, that is additional hit, not shot, additional hit on 6s to hit. With that kind of firepower, it's ridiculous.
So you said that you basically agreed to split points.
Yeah.
But let's say that that you went to a huge team tournament, for example, and you had this bad luck of facing that army. Yeah, facing that army and that general as well. What would be your plan for a game like that? Would it be just survive, or?
Yeah, basically, we have played this game with Skark, so we know the outcome. But with a slight change with my list, I think it could be a draw. Because right now, with Terminators, I don't have enough board control to counter his Cerberus Raiders. And he can just put them on the objectives. And with 3 wounds, they are really tough to remove with no line of sight shooting from the crawlers. And if I move haulers to destroy the raiders and take a point, they will be obliterated next turn without the 4-up invulnerable. But if I change the Blightlord Terminators for a patrol of Nurgle Demons with, let's say, Poxbringers, some kind of cheap HQ, and 3 squads of Nurglings, I think it will be 2 4s and one unit of 3. I could score enough primaries for 2 turns that he couldn't, that it would be a draw. And another thing, he needs to divert the power from my shooting power from my demon engines to the Nurglings with ignore line of sight shooting, because it's damage 2 and I don't have disgustingly resilient on my Nurglings.
Yeah.
So it's another 2 turns for my demon engines without full firepower of Admech. So that will be a change in my list for the next games.
Okay.
But maybe then it will be an even matchup. With the Terminators, definitely not.
So recently I've listened to an interview with another Death Guard player from the States. I don't know if you've heard of Don Hooson. Basically, yeah. So he had this idea to include as well, a detachment of Chaos Demons, or maybe not even a detachment, but to leave some points for the summoning. And he figured that it might be a good idea to summon Epidemius, because he's a Nurgle demon and he has this tally of when you kill stuff, he gives you bonuses.
Yes. But I thought of that before the tournament, and I was making a tally of the number of units I killed each turn, reach the number 5, because when you kill 5 units, you have +1 toughness on all your demon engines, and after that you are impossible to kill. Really.
Yeah, pretty much.
But on all of my games, I killed 5 units in turn 3, and it just after turn 3 it didn't matter. Yeah, it was already decided. So Epidemius doesn't matter. He will be a good thing. He will be a good unit if you are willing to play a mirror match with Death Guard, because the tally is counted either from friend and foe. So if your opponent kills your unit, the tally is increased.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. So that's really, really cool to know.
Yeah.
That is not a game one would want to play, though. Death
Yeah.
Guard versus Death Guard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like playing 150 plague bears on each side.
Yeah, all over again.
Yeah, but on the other hand, people say that this edition is no longer about killing, it's about board control. So it would be interesting to see, how two players of the same army, such a resilient army, actually approach the topic of, controlling the table and then pushing each other off objectives. Either that, or they could just split and take points, the same amount of points, I guess.
Yeah, or maybe you can just make a little leap of faith and play differently. So if you play the same kind of list, shooting, the defilers aren't really very shooty. Plagueburst crawlers aren't shooty too. So if you spread your demon engines and take secondaries like engage on fronts, or maybe like what else? Yeah, the why we stand we fight is obvious, and the third one like psychic ritual or mental interrogation or something like that. You can really force your enemy to chase your demon engines over the table, and that could give you some kind of an advantage. But yeah, probably to split it is a better way, more obvious and more reliable.
Yeah, and you can always just have a relaxing beer with your opponent rather than push the same kind of models on the table. All right, so moving on to your next game. You've played the organizer of the tournament, I guess, so Kerszur, is that correct?
Yeah, I played against Kerszur and his Salamanders. And yeah, that was the second matchup that I was afraid of, because of he had like two units of Graph Devastators and 1 unit of Eradicators plus 3/5 of Flamer Aggressors. So
nasty.
Yeah, that's a lot of firepower. And I didn't start this game. I went second. And I thought that if I went first, I can push my defilers up front, so he will need to drop his drop pods in some kind of uncomfortable place for him, non-optimal. But yeah, that doesn't happen. So he dropped the first devastators behind the 5 aggressors, shoot one of my defilers, but he didn't kill him. I was just lucky on my saves, because I passed like 8 out of 11 out of my hand.
Wow.
And then, after the first round of shooting, he done like 4 wounds on my defiler. So I was happy back after first round of shooting for him, but I could not remove the devastators because of the self-sacrifice stratagem. So I need to shoot the aggressors in cover.
Oh yeah, that's clever play.
Yeah. But with a slight misplacement of his models, of Kershur's models, I was able to move my Plagueburst crawlers and 3 of my howlers to see the unit. So I shot my Melta guns and missile launchers and all of Ignore Line of Sight shooting from the crawlers, and I killed like 4 aggressors. And fortunately, he failed morale on the last one.
With Space Marines? No way.
Yes. Yes. You're like 5 and a 6. So yeah, and he put he took raised the banners high as his secondary and push his infiltrators a little bit too far. So I was able to charge them turn one with my Demon Prince and Defiler. So that was a little mistake on his side, and the dice went my way.
After clearly, with so many saves passed, it was just a bad game for him.
Yeah, and after that, I just flanked him with my 3 howlers to force him to drop the second drop pod on the other side of the table when he doesn't have any range for 2 turns to all of my rest of my demon engines. So I just sacrificed 3 howlers for, let's say, win. And he outflanked the aggressors to kill the Terminators, which doesn't happen because the Terminators charge him without the Overwatch, and the flail just decimated the aggressors. So yeah, and that was the game. But it was barely a maximum score as one point over the cap. So even with the bad dices and slight misplay from my opponent, it was a tough matchup.
Yeah, I see. I'm checking Turn the Keeper, which, by the way, we are going to link in the description as well. I see it was 84 to 44, or something like that. Yeah.
So okay. It's one point over the cap, and yeah, he misplayed one time again. So with not screening his Librarian, so I just evaporated him with my crawlers and mortars. So his aggressors.
Yeah, that one sounds like easy to forget to screen characters properly in the new edition.
Yeah. If you don't play many games, it's the first mistake that you will make. I've made it many times at the start of the night.
Yeah, it can be a game changer.
Yeah, that's why I have only 2 characters, and I
always minimize the risk.
Yeah, and I always need to be in the aura, so so it's a little foolproof. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then your last game, it was against Kitku, right?
Yeah, he's a good player from Krakow, and his list was pure anti-tank. So he has like Knight Castellan, 2 squads of Graph Devastators, and 2 Stormhawks. No, Stormhawks are the small Storm Ravens, yeah, and 2 Storm Ravens. But we played on the table that have 4 large pieces of lost blocking terrain, and yeah, that really saved me. Because, even with 4+ invulnerable, the shooting from the Castellan is
mind blowing.
Yeah, so, some kind of, because in this list, Kitku doesn't have anything else to spend command points other than buffing Castellan. And he can ignore my inf save with the rockets, so if you need to kill a demon engine that is on his last wounds, he can do that easily. Or he can just try to assassin my 4 wounds character with his rocket, right? But this game was pretty static. I started, and I parked all my demon engines behind the lost block, and the demon prince in the middle, only making the psychic ritual. And he was just we were playing 2 kinds of games. He was just shooting, I was just rolling saves. like really. I was just rolling saves for first 3 turns. I killed like Storm Raven, and that's all. but he didn't want to come to my side of the table because he will be charged and probably killed. But after turn 3, I just pushed forward with Demon Prince and Demon Engines and managed to kill another Storm Raven and what else? And yeah, all the chaff units, so the bikers, scouts, etc. He doesn't have much screen, so my Terminators can drop on the backfield and took away one of his objectives. And he did manage to kill one of my Playbus crawlers with the Castellan, so I didn't score 15 points on the While We Stand We Fight. Mm-hmm. And that's why and I didn't score much on the primary. I think it was 35 or 40 points at for my primary, and secondaries was Psychic Ritual, of course, While We Stand We Fight, and I don't remember what was the third one.
So did you completely ignore the Castellan, or did you try to I don't know,
ignore him? Okay. If he will come closer to me and try to shoot out the Playbus crawlers that were hidden behind the lost block at the edge of my deployment, then yeah, I will definitely charge him with the Defilers, and 2 Defilers I think will easily kill him. But he was staying at the edge of his deployment and just shooting out of the 48-inch range, and that's all. So I really ignored the Castellan and tried to kill that unit that was in my range, which was the Storm Ravens. And I think that a little bit pay off, because the Castellan can be pretty swingy, and Kitku has like 1 turn of not buffing the Castellan to reroll once, and he obviously rolled 1 of the for the shots on Volcanolays, and didn't even wounded me. And I always keep the only command point I've got for the turn, just to reroll a crucial save on my Demon Engine.
Right. So I see that you went 4-1, and you basically won the tournament by 1 point, right? So Skark must have been really happy about that.
Yeah, he was. But no harsh feelings. And to be honest, Skark have just, I think, better opponents, because he played Duda with his Eldars when he lost like 2 points or 1, and played against Blood Angels when he lost another point from the max score. And yeah, that was, let's say, unfortunate for him. But yeah, that was 1 point swing on my side.
Yeah, I mean, that 1 important point. So, exactly.
It's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, at the end of the day, people remember who won the tournament, not who came second. Sorry, Skark.
Or how close.
Yeah, exactly. So, Arek, tell us this. Do you still aspire to be on the Polish national team?
Of course. I think it might be... I'm better at this game than I was a year before. So, and Death Guard is, I think, one of the armies that are tier 1 right now, I think. Because of the resilience and ability to just deny a lot of armies that doesn't have the enough firepower, anti-tank firepower.
Right. So if your captain asked you to let's imagine for a moment that the WTC is happening next year. You're going. Your captain comes to you and says, Arek, what would be your preferable matchup? So what armies would you want to play?
Almost every army, but not the Grenades, not the Admech.
So yeah, those 2 are the bad matchups for you.
I think the hordes are tough for this list because I don't have enough shots to kill them. So list like Michu's list from the last Kozłów team tournament,
Right.
it was like 180 boys. You know, he couldn't kill me, I couldn't kill him, and he has OPSEC, so the outcome is rather obvious.
But apart from that one particular list that I think was also like tailor-made for a team tournament, do you see a lot of horde armies right now?
No, I don't. But I think that, especially in team events, it might be some kind of resurgence of the hordes because, you know, even if you have blast weapons, you don't want to shoot them at the hordes. You don't want to shoot them on the chaff units of 30 boys or 30 conscripts and something like that. And with good pairings, especially at the 8-player team tournament, you can tailor the pairings that way that probably you will have some chance to play it against to be a hard counter for your opponent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe 2 horde armies on 8-player tournament are good starting point, I think.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, that's the same assumption that I made with all Demon Engines list, right? Just not many players will have answer to that. All your strength 3, strength 4 shooting is almost invalidated because you don't have a reasonable target to shoot at.
You've mentioned Death Guard being like tier 1. Do you think your list is the go-to build for Death Guard, or do you think there are other builds that are also viable?
I think that there are other builds that are viable, and to be honest, I didn't expect to do so well with this list because I haven't played the list before the tournament, so it was only five matchups. And today, when we record this, I played another 2. But so I played like seven games with it, and I didn't even think about going that high on the tournament. Like I said before, that the list could be adjusted a little, but the core of 3 defilers and 3 plaguebook scrollers, I think, is the go-to. If it's the strongest, I don't know, because we don't have any established meta right now, in my opinion, because of the COVID and things like that. We don't have many tournaments around the world. In Poland, it's a different thing because we are starting to get, let's say, one major tournament a month.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah, we're trying very hard. But around the world, I don't see many tournaments. And beside the things that are guys from the Art of War or Tabletop Titans are doing in their homes, right? But I think that at the start of the year, when everything goes right, we'll see some kind of tournament meta. Then will be some kind of, I think there will be more viable Death Guard builds, because Plague Marine heavy build is also, in my opinion, viable. Plague Marines in Rhinos and with grenades. With 3 playbook scrollers, of course, because they are really a nice board control units. Chaos spawns in Death Guard are awesome, and I expect that GW will nerf them in the first occasion, because 23 points for a unit that can have 5-up invul and 5-up feel no pain, and 4 wounds, toughness 5, it's a little bit too cheap.
I think you're the first person ever that I've heard who said that spawns maybe, that might need a debuff or a nerf.
Especially in the, not spawns in general, but chaos spawns in Death Guard are ridiculous. For 115 points plus 1 CP and a character for 60 points, you will have a 5-up invul within 7 inches and 5-up feel no pain on a unit that will have 20 wounds in total with toughness 5. And can do some hurt in melee because it's 5d6 attacks plus the 5 from the Hateful Assault and the random buff. With Talisman to reroll all hits, it can really hurt. And if your opponent
stack up.
Yeah, and if your opponent doesn't deal with them at the start of the game, they can be a real pain in the later turns. And if you kill the spawns, that's great. My Demon Angels are still there. So Death Guard is all about target heavy environment for your opponent and all the bad decision he can make of targeting one unit or another. And you can
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the spawns are not demons, right? So even against Grey Knights, you have this little advantage that they don't get stronger smites.
Yeah, they are Heretic Astartes beasts, I think. So and you don't have a leadership problem with them because they are leadership 9. So spawns are really good board control and tar pit unit. And I think tar pit units are the way to go right now. Something you can put an objective and if your opponent will come near the objective, you will just charge him and kill him. And if not kill him, then outscore him on the number of models.
It's really cool because it seems like really every single unit in that Death Guard army now is a challenge to the opponent. It really cannot be ignored because if you leave it alive, it will either score points on the primary or maybe some secondaries that are related to objectives. And if you try to kill it, it might actually fight back and do some hurt to you as well.
Yeah, of course there are some non-optimal choices like the, let's say, plague drones or a lot of characters or the Death Guard Terminators, which are ridiculously priced again.
Mm-hmm.
But the Codex is, even if it's an old 8th edition Codex with the new missions, smaller tables and buff from the War of the Spider, the Codex gets some significant buff, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like a good toolbox to pick and choose whatever floats your boat, really.
But, that's a specific play style that you need to adjust to, because it's not about the killing, it's about sometimes staying in place and say, okay, that's your turn.
So
yeah, but that goes pretty much with what 9th is about now, isn't it?
Not with every army, I think, Joker, because if you have enough firepower like the Admech, you can just play to table your opponent in 3 turns, and then score attrition, score either further ranks on grind them down, so kill vehicles or kill models, and score pretty much 10 points for primaries for staying on 2 objectives, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but that still seems like that's just one ridiculous army that does that. Hopefully it's the only one and it's not gonna be happening for too long.
So, Arek, what do you think about I think confirmed by now rumors that Space Marines and Space Marine equivalents will be getting an additional wound? For your army, it sounds like they will be even more resilient, right?
Oh, that's my dream, because I'm hearing about the Plague Marines getting tunes for about 2 years, and in every chapter approved, I think, yeah, that's yeah, that's the moment. Okay, everything depends on the costs, because the tacticals were announced to be 18 points when they get to 2 wounds, so it's like 20 or 25% points increase, right?
Mm-hmm.
A Plague Marine is right now on 18 points, so if you get a 20 or 25 point decrease, it will be around 22 to 27 points, and 5 plus Feel No Pain with ability to put 4 plus Feel No Pain with reroll 1s and 2s makes them such a difficult unit to remove for their points that it will be ridiculous. Really, I'm waiting for the new Plague Marines meta.
Oh, yeah, but on the other hand, yes, Plague Marines probably will get that, but at the same time, their Imperial counterparts will get the same. So you will have, intercessors, eliminators. Will they also be getting a wound, or is it only the tacticals and the old Marines, so to say?
It's apparently the old Marines only,
Yeah.
at least from what from the photos that go flying around of new rules from boxes.
Right, but then some of the weapons, I think, like the heavy bolter and so on, they will be also like they will go up in damage. So
yeah, but shooting a multi-damage weapon to a unit that has ignore damage ability is really non-optimal choice, because when you're killing like with heavy bolters with new profile, right? So 5 -1 to damage. When you're shooting to a tactical or intercessor, you are wounding on freeze. They have a 4+ save, and so it's a 50-50 to kill a intercessor.
right.
And with Plague Marine, you're wounding on force because of the toughness, and if you have a large blob, you can just easily buff them with a spell with Warp Charge 6, I think, to give them +1 strength, +1 toughness. So you're wounding on 5s with heavy bolters. Then I have 4+ save, and then I have 5 up
Resilient, yeah.
to ignore damage. So that's the thing. With multiple damage weapons shooting at multiple wound models with Feel No Pains.
We've already established that your army is strong, durable, really hard to shift.
Yeah.
So would you have any piece of advice for people playing against your army? Maybe not you in particular, but your army in general. So at the beginning you said that one of the tricks to do would be probably to force you to spread out.
Yep.
And not benefit from the aura abilities that you have. Anything else? Or is any piece of advice for people who struggle against Death Guard, perhaps?
Death Guard in the Demon Engine build doesn't have any screen, because each of my unit is a key unit for me, so I don't have any chaff to screen with. If you have a unit like Bloodletters or Blood Angels that can charge 3d6 and kill one of my units on the objective, then yeah, do it.
Okay.
Plus spreading around and playing on the secondaries is really important, because I cannot be with my 4-up aura in each table quarter. And what else?
So yeah, on that, by the way, any specific secondaries that are good against Death Guard? Engage on all fronts?
Yeah,
probably?
engage on all fronts. I think if you have like characters that you can easily hide the while we fight will be quite nice. What else? Anything psychic related, because I have only one source of deny. And and killing vehicles.
Yeah, of course, because
you have to kill them to play your mission, right? To play your game, you will have to kill them. And the haulers, even if they are, people think that the haulers are the easiest one to kill, but yeah, quite the opposite. They are the biggest wound sink in this list, because that's three models with 8 wounds, so that's 24 wounds with toughness 7 and 5 up, feel no pain. Just try to kill the defilers. They are 14 wounds, toughness 7, 4 up, 5 up, and each kill defiler is 3 points for you. So just kill the defilers and then focus on haulers.
Yeah, I love how you just make it sound so casual. Just kill the defilers.
Yeah. if you will focus, like in 8th edition, if 2,000 points of your army is shooting at my 200 points or 140 of a defiler, you will kill it.
Hopefully, yeah. If not, then you're in for a bad ride.
You will kill it unless your army is all intercessors, or no, even intercessors with AP -1. You will kill it, right? Nurglings doesn't. But
yeah, probably. But that's not their role anyway.
Yeah, but if you have army full of Nurglings, that's a bad matchup for me anyway. So it doesn't need to kill anything. Just take the domination, engage on all fronts, to some kind of psychic, or while we stand, we fight, and I will
shake the table.
Shake your hands and take 1 point out of this game and go for a beer.
Oh yeah, that's the piece of advice I was looking for. Just play Nurglings.
Yeah, just play Nurglings. Nurglings are, I think, one of the most dirty demon lists out there that can be.
So do you expect a nerf for them, like a price increase or something like that, or a nerf?
Yeah, I will expect that. They didn't the GW didn't increase the Nurgling cost at the start of the 9th edition, so they are 54 points, like they were in 9th. And they are much more viable than they were in 8th edition, because of the ability to scout, deploy, and score the objective from the first battle round is much more viable than was in 8th edition.
Yeah, definitely. So, would you say that your army, the Death Guard in general, that it would make the cut for the top 8 armies going to the WTC at this very moment?
If we will be talking about the World Team Championship that is going to take place in a month or 2, then yeah. But in the next 6 months, I think everything can happen. And I will expect a price increase on Death Guard when on chapter approved or big FAQ.
Okay. All right. That's it for my questions. Joker, is there anything else that you would like to know?
No, I think we've gone over everything by now.
Yeah, it was quite informative, I would say, both for people who play Death Guard and people who face them on the table. Arek, that was really great. It was fantastic to have you. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. Yeah. And hopefully you can join us for future episodes as well.
If you will invite me, definitely I will be there.
Yeah, definitely such source of knowledge, needs to visit us more often. So I'll make sure this happens. This is it for now. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you like us, subscribe us. We are on pretty much all of your pod media right now. So Spotify, iTunes, yeah, and all the other ones that I forgot the names right now. But still, make sure you go there. You like us, you subscribe to us, help us grow. yeah, and we will be able to deliver fantastic content for you. Thank you, everyone. Until next time.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.